Hey guys, Landon13 here, and today we're doing a movie review on Back to the Future Part 2. So let's talk about this movie. Back to the Future Part 2 is basically a continuation from the first film, where the first film left off. So basically the opening is basically the ending of the first film. And basically a little extension of Biff coming outside and seeing the DeLorean fly, and then just goes off and disappears into the distance, like in the ending of the movie. But anyways, basically there's three acts in this movie. Act 1 is basically saving Marty's kids from being in jail. Act 2 is basically getting Jennifer out of the house and returning to 1985. And Act 3 is basically getting the sports book back. So the different storylines are basically different time periods. You got 2015, 1985A, and 1955. So let's talk about it, shall we? So of course 2015 is like this futuristic world of Hill Valley, with all the flying cars and just people dressing up in 80s theme. But anyways, basically Doc took Marty to the future to save his kids before something bad happens. And Doc knows because, well, he went forwards in time and see that Marty McFly Jr. went to jail. And he also said that his daughter would break him out and get more jail time, his daughter. But it all works out with Griff, Biff's grandson. Basically, Griff instead gets the blame for it, and everything works finally. But unfortunately, Marty buys a sports book, and he pretty much gets overheard by old Biff. And old Biff's old plan is to steal the time machine, give it to his old self, so he can become rich and successful and powerful and other stuff. But anyways, they get Jennifer out of there, and Doc said he's got to destroy the time machine. Not so fast yet, because they return back to 1985. But something isn't right. Everywhere's just, well, chaos. And of course, soon Marty and Doc will discover that it is actually chaos, because Hill Valley is run by Biff. And basically Doc figures it out that how Biff came rich was from the sports almanac. So anyways, their plan is to go back to 1955, the event of the first movie, and trying to get the sports book back and destroy it to return to normal. But there's another major issue. The first film's Marty and the 1955 Doc are there, so they cannot run into themselves and they cannot be seen by them. Or else paradoxes. But anyways, they do it. They burn the book, but Marty's stuck there. Marty gets given a letter by Doc in 1885, and of course the movie ends on another cliffhanger where Doc faints after seeing Marty just comes back. And it actually says to be concluded. So just like the first movie, of course this one ends on a cliffhanger, but of course the main antagonist is Biff once again, but this time he's an actual villain. So old Biff is the starter point of the movie. He basically finds out that Doc Brown has a time machine. Well, he figures it out pretty quickly because there's two Martys Juniors in the same place. And he figures out that, oh, wait a minute, he's probably from the past. So anyways, he steals the time machine with the sports book. And when he comes back, he's just not there. He's just fainted out of reality. And then we got 1985A Biff. He's just evil. Anyways, he's rich and famous. Did his own company called Biffco, and he killed George McFly in this reality and married to Marty's mother. And Marty isn't happy, but they do knock him unconscious to go to the future. And of course, the last one is Biff from 1955 in the first film. He is more of a central antagonist in this one, rather than the first film. He's just there. But in this one, he actually tries to murder Marty with his car. But of course, he gets stung by Bernard, and he's just like, I hate Bernard, and something like that. So of course, we're going to talk about the DeLorean once again. In this one, this is called DeLorean Mark II. And this one is the flying version. And of course, this one's very popular because it's on merchandise everywhere with the Mr. Fusion. And you don't need the plutonium anymore. So you just got the Mr. Fusion to power the flux capacitor. But it's a really cool car in this one. My personal favourites. But of course, it gets struck by lightning near the end of the movie. And of course, speaking of the end of the movie, we get a little recap of the clock tower scene from the first movie. And Doc, it all goes well, but Doc just freaks out and faints after seeing Marty coming back. One of the greatest scenes has to be the tunnel chase scene, where Marty and Biff fight over the book. Marty gets the book, but Biff is about to kill him. But Marty has the hoverboard as well, and going really fast, and thankfully Doc is there to save Marty just in time. And of course, Biff goes into the truck of Bernard. Of course, it's just great. What's also fascinating is the hoverboards, like the little the skateboard things that float. Marty used it, the chase scene in 2015, and of course the tunnel scene as well. Yeah. So of course the main characters are Marty and Doc this time. And Doc is basically aware of everything, even the changes in 1985A. And he basically gives us a really good demonstration of the timeline. Basically, the timeline screwed down to this, went down to this tangent, and of course, they cannot go back to the future, so they're going to go back to the past, 1955. And it was so cool seeing, like, the events of the first movie intertwined with the second movie, because you know that Marty has experienced this before, and we know what happens. But it's really cool, and plus we get, like, new scenes in 1955 with Marty, like, trying to get the sports book back from Biff. Speaking of the sports book, the Grey Sports Almanac is basically this very powerful item you don't want to bring back to the future. Even Doc called out Marty for this, and Marty did realise his mistake, but it was too late because Biff had the book, but they burned it in the end, so of course they did. And of course the book gets burned and everything goes back, but not too fast yet, because the DeLorean gets struck by lightning, and we'll learn from the third film what happened to the DeLorean and Doc Brown. Of course, throughout the movie, you got like little hints of the Old West for the third movie, like the Nintendo arcade Wild West thing, Doc's shirt, Clint Eastwood movie, 1885 malfunctioning on the on the time circuits, and of course Biff's ancestor, Mad Dog 10, that would be an antagonist in part 3. So a lot of little foreshadowing for what's about to happen in part 3. So I really like that. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review for Back to the Future Part 2. Next time will be Back to the Future Part 3 of the trilogy. And of course, the last one of the movie franchise. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, click the notification bell, and click that subscribe button to become a Team 13. Really helps out the channel a lot. But that's Landon13 signing off for now. Bye bye.